Speaking of the more you know, I really don't like medical tourism.
Yes.
And this segment, which I had seen this, but you then brought it to my attention, and I had been thinking about doing this as a segment, and then when you brought it to mind, I was like, yeah, we should probably definitely do this because people are talking about this.
Yeah.
So this is a segment about plastic surgery places scamming people in Turkey. Now, for those who don't know, Turkey is a country that is very, very popular for plastic surgery and other types of medical tourism. But mostly the people that go to Turkey are from like the UK, Europe, and those places. In fact, we've had segments where...
Is it like the United States version of going to Mexico?
Yeah, Mexico or Dominican Republic, right?
Yeah.
And so we've talked about some really bad outcomes coming out of Turkey. And I'm not going to go into medical tourism for the millionth time. Medical tourism is bad. Don't do it. You can save money, but you can absolutely die from it or get just botched or disfigured. So I'm going to just leave it at that. But this is a pretty interesting segment because this is from a viral post that I've seen over the past week from this plastic surgery center in Turkey. I actually don't know the name of the center, but they go by Instagram, Estemed Istanbul TR. Yeah, here it is right there. And they have like a huge number of followers, and I figured out that I think one of the way that they're getting these followers is because they're basically just being fraudulent to the point that people think that they're doing amazing stuff, and that's why they're following, because their posts are just like unbelievable.
Did you happen to see how many likes they were getting on their posts?
It was a lot.
Okay.
But
sometimes places like that just buy followers.
They had a lot.
And it looks like
I think they go viral, though. I think that they've gone viral because, like, I've kind of flipped through, and I have one specific picture I'm going to show in just a second. But I think they go viral because, like, their results are just, like, unbelievably good to the point that they're just not real. And so when people see that, like, oh, my geez, I need to follow this place. And they may buy followers, too. I mean, that's a lot of followers for a plastic surgery place that doesn't even have like a right. I mean, you get these celebrity doctors that get a lot of followers because people like them as a person, but for a center that's an insane amount. So probably 2/3 of their followers are more fake. But so let's throw up the picture that's gone viral recently. This is a before and after picture that this place literally posted, and they said this patient had a facelift, neck lift, upper and lower blepharoplasty, which is eyelids, a buccal fat removal, a rhinoplasty, and a hair transplant, all in one surgery. And that's the before, obviously, on the left, and the after on the right. So I saw this, and like without even like going into the details of these pictures, which we're gonna do, I was like, this is total BS. This is not the same person. That is not the same person. Like, just at a glance, I can look at that and tell you. I mean, because it could be hard to believe. I mean, I have some plastic surgery befores and afters that people would probably be like, is that the same person? I've had people even ask me that in my office when I'm showing befores and afters, because you can accomplish a lot with plastic surgery, but you can't make someone a different person. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And the first off thing I would say about this particular case in particular, or this case in particular, is if this was real, like doing this number of surgeries at the same time is just straight up malpractice. I mean, we've talked in the past about how getting multiple plastic surgeries.
Wasn't there like 6 things that this guy did to his face all at once?
Facelift, neck lift, upper and lower blepharoplasty, buccal fat removal, rhinoplasty, hair transplant. I mean, no one should have that much surgery at once. So how do I know that this is not the same person? Because, people out there might be listening to me and be like, well, you're dogging on these people because you're a competition, which they're really not because they're in Turkey. But but yeah, I can tell you that's not the same person. All right, so I'm going to go through and show you why this is not the same person. All right, throw up the first pic. All right, they said this guy had a facelift. The guy on the right has not had a facelift. Outside of the fact that I zoomed in on the picture of his ear and he has no scars, if you do a facelift on a man, it takes away your sideburns, because when you do a facelift, you're pulling the skin back towards the ear and you're cutting it. And so what ends up happening is you lose that skin in between your ear and your sideburn, and usually part of the sideburn, just depending on how much skin that you remove. And you have to tell men you're not going to wear sideburns anymore because they're going to look super wonky. And that guy's sideburns look perfect. Like, this guy has not had a facelift. He has not had a facelift. And so right off the bat, when these people are saying this guy had a facelift, and you see this, you know that
his ears look slightly different too.
Yeah, you're good eye. That's a good eye. Yeah, you're actually right. All right, let's go to the next pic. All right, so I want to show here is the different kind of structural angles of the skulls of these two gentlemen. So the first guy's frontal bone has a pretty aggressive slope to it, as you can see by the line there. The other guy, it's much less so. Yeah. And theoretically, yes, you could do some bone grafting to change that, but they didn't mention that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the slope of these two guys' forehead is completely different.
His is like, what's that called when their chin doesn't...
Retrognathia. Yeah. So the guy on the left has retrognathia. You can see because the line is in between the maxilla, which is the upper jawbone, and the mandible, which is the lower, and his jawbone sits further back. The guy on the right has a very good maxillomandibular angle, and granted, you can accomplish that with jaw surgeries or jaw implants, but they didn't mention that. So once again, this is pretty much solid proof that these are totally different people. Also, the nose, I mean, in this picture, I mean, you can accomplish a ton with nose jobs, but like those noses are like universes apart. I mean, it's obviously not the same person. And then let's go to the next pic, Travis, if we can. Yeah, the ears. You hit the nail on the head, Sarah. Those are different ears. That is not the same person. Those, you can tell by just the different contours of the ear. The lobe is different. There's no scars on the ear on the right, which you would see if someone had a facelift if you zoom this in this much. Once again, the sideburns are normal. They haven't been pulled back. I mean, this is like myth busted. This is absolutely not the same person. I would bet any amount of money or my own life on it. And I don't always say stuff like that. So
I don't know either.
I mean, this is not the same guy. I mean, if it was just one of those things, you might be like, well, maybe it's the picture, maybe it's the lighting, maybe I'm just like, measuring my angles wrong. No, all of those things point, those are completely different people. Which is crazy. I mean, I don't know how these places get away with it. Well, they get away with it because these countries they got bigger fish to fry than like regulate.
I feel like they're like, prove it.
Right. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we did.
I know, but like,
yeah, but right.
Who's going to go against them?
Yeah, who's going to go against them?
They're
and
575,000.
Well, I will tell you, even like in the comments on that picture, because I went to the Instagram post, everybody was like,
fake news.
Everyone was like, this isn't real, like, but then again, how do they know that? They're just seeing that and thinking it's not real. But like looking at those specific markers that we looked at, I mean, you can just tell that it's not the same person. Like there's too many just differences in like structure of the ear, the forehead, the maxillomandibular angle. He had the after picture has not had surgeries like they're claiming. I mean, I zoomed in on the eyes to see if like I could see, the blepharoplasty incisions, which granted those are hard to see, but if you know what you're looking for as a plastic surgeon, you can oftentimes pick them out.
I've seen guys like I know two guys that have gotten like that under eye.
Lower blepharoplasty.
Yeah, and like it's still slightly there. Always.
The scar.
Well, like the fold. It's still like
right.
a little puffy. It's not completely gone.
Well, I mean, if you do like a really good lower blepharoplasty.
Well, I guess they didn't have very good, but two of them that I see all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and who knows how long? Maybe they had some recurrence or something.
That guy's eyes looked like just completely just like...
Oh, they were perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, granted, you if that was just the eyelids, so if the rest of the face looked exactly the same and it was just going from the before eyelids to the after, I'd be like, all right, maybe they airbrushed out the scar, because people do photo editing a little. I mean, I don't do that, but some people do photo edit to take out scars. You theoretically could get that big of a difference in eyelids.
Okay.
I mean, you could, but all that stuff together, no, that is not the same person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous that they're like claiming it's the same person. But like, now everyone's talking about them, right? And so now people are going to their Instagram page, and there's going to be people out there that
think that they can just become a different person.
Yeah, or they're just like, well, I found this place, and maybe this result's not legit, but maybe these other ones are, and then they look and see that it's really cheap.
Do you remember that news story of this woman that had a bunch of plastic surgery, and the guy that married her? It was like I think a Middle Eastern couple, and the guy that married her like ended up suing her because their children looked nothing
Oh
like her.
no, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, because she had like a
Sued her
huge. She had to.
for what, false advertising?
Yeah, pretty much.
What? Okay, surely that didn't go anywhere.
I don't know. I just remember seeing the news story.
That's
I
so
remember
funny.
thinking it was kind of silly. I was just like, I guess like if you are like you're
That's
married to
funny,
somebody,
right?
you had no idea that they have like one of those like a really prominent nose naturally, but they got a new one, and then your kids come out and they have
Yeah, but
really
you don't
prominent
sue
nose.
your wife. Like that's
Well,
weird.
maybe he just married her because of the way she looks. And doesn't
Interesting.
really like her. Or like Middle Eastern. Maybe he like bought her. I don't know.
Huh.
Like who knows?
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, the laws.
It was
in
a
lot-
long time ago.
A lot of laws in the countries are odd like that, where maybe you can
Mail
get away
order
with that.
bride things.
Well, especially in countries where I mean, there's still a lot of countries where men have so many more rights than women.
Yeah.
Like in the United States, it's just ludicrous that
I want to find that story again.
that someone would sue their wife because of plastic surgery. Like that would go nowhere. But you never know in countries where women still don't have
Yeah.
a lot of rights. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. It's